All right, I'm Brendan Smith, the Assistant Director of Career Services here at Regent University, and today we have the Virginia Beach Police Department visiting. So actually, if you want to stand right here, we can do our info session just like this. And yeah, and so just tell me a little bit about your job with the police department. I know you said that you work with Virginia Beach Police in the Oceanfront area, which is the second precinct. And just introduce yourself. Tell me a little about what you do as a police officer.
Sure. I'm Sergeant Lonnie King. I'm a member of the Virginia Beach Police Department. My current assignment is at the Oceanfront, which is in the second precinct. I'm the supervisor of the Oceanfront. I have been entrusted by the Chief of Police and my command staff to lead a group of officers in the resort area, which I take great pride in, and I appreciate the opportunity to be a leader at the Oceanfront. Prior to that, I spent some time in special operations. I was a member of the Special Weapons and Tactics team, SWAT team. And before that, as an officer, I spent my young years at the 3rd Precinct.
Did you start with Virginia Beach Police then? Was that your first?
I did. Virginia Beach Police Department took a chance on me. I applied for several jurisdictions across the nation, and Virginia Beach responded first. And they offered me the opportunity to be a police officer there, and I never looked back on it. And I'm very grateful because we have a fantastic police department. Some things that I didn't know, our police department is very fortunate because anything that you think you want to do in policing, we have. Everywhere from helicopters to boats to any detective that you might want to be. Forensics. We have the Department of Forensic Science, not necessarily police officers, but we have a nice, a big forensic wing. So anything that you think you might want to be in policing, we have. And I'm very fortunate to be a part of this organization. Not a lot of organizations can say that, for funding or whatever reason they don't have some of those tools, but we do, and it's a great opportunity.
Nice. And I know Virginia Beach is the largest land-wise city in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Correct.
So this department, you do a lot of different things, like you were saying. So you've had SWAT experience, you've had all sorts of different experience. From what I've learned from police I know in Virginia Beach is you get a chance to kind of pick like areas of focus that you're interested in and even rotate through different assignments. Is that how it works?
Absolutely. So say, you start out in our police department, right? So the first thing you do is you go to the academy. It's a 6-month academy. And our police department pays for all your gear. They pay for all your uniforms. They pay for all your training. And you're also being paid a recruit salary while you're in the academy. So that's a win situation for you. Once you finish your 6 months, you go out to the street and become what is called a PPO, a probationary police officer. And you ride with a PTO, a police training officer. So essentially, you're going to be going across the service with someone training you to be a police officer. So everything that you learn in the academy is now going to be tested out on the street. But you're going to have a guide with you, so to speak. You do 3 months of that in very different phases out there on the street. And then once you pass that phase, your police probationary officer phase, you're now a full sworn member of the police department. Depending on what the specialty that you want to do, you decide as the police officer, if that's investigations, if that's operations, or you want to be a K-9 or whatever you desire to be. Memorandums will come out internal, like, hey, we're soliciting for a SWAT officer, or we're soliciting for a helicopter pilot. And then if you feel like that's something that you want to do as a police officer, you apply for it and you interview for it or do whatever diagnostics need to be done in the application process. And if you come out first, you're going to go to that place. The great thing about that is even with helicopter pilots or Marine Patrol officers or dive officers, you don't need experience prior to it. The Virginia Beach Police Department is going to send you to all the schools. A lot of the training is done in-house. We'll teach you how to fly. Whatever you want to be, we're going to train you in-house. And you'll be able to do it. No experience needed.
So you pretty much just need an interest.
You need an interest and the desire to do it.
Wow.
That's it. That's the great thing about our department.
Wow. And I know us being a military town, we have a lot of different facilities. I understand that the police department takes advantage of some of those training facilities, and you kind of get training that you otherwise wouldn't get in many other departments or locations across the country.
Absolutely. We have a great relationship with, all types of organizations in our area and in our region. So the Virginia Beach Police Department prides themselves on creating those good relationships and offering training opportunities for them, as well as receiving training opportunities from them. So there will be times that, we'll have other jurisdictions or even sometimes the military come and use our facilities. We have fantastic facilities. So LEADA, Law Enforcement Training Academy, we have a variety of ranges, and we also have a town that we created called Creeds that's down in the county that has everything from buildings to tracks to classrooms that, practical classrooms where we do some of our life-saving first aid techniques and what have you. I mean, everything that a police officer needs to know, our police department has those facilities available. And I would even, I might be a little biased here, but going around to different jurisdictions and seeing the training, we get a lot of training. Our chief is all about us getting as much training as we possibly can. So I will tell you, from the fall all the way through the summer, there are training opportunities for our police officers, and we are mandated to have a certain amount of training to be in CALIA standards, as well as some of the training that our chief of police or who he designated at the Law Enforcement Training Academy believes that we need to have to be proficient and to be the best trained police department in the world.
I know here in Regent, we pull from communities all across the country. And so a lot of people are used to a variety of things. I know you said you are from Detroit originally.
Yes.
I'm from Pittsburgh. So you have the big city kind of policing. But where I'm from, it's a small township. We have
Sure.
smaller here. In Virginia, we just have cities. And so Virginia Beach covers a very diverse kind of population. How would you describe to someone who might just be familiar with Kempsville, what kind of policing environment you encounter on a day-to-day basis throughout Virginia Beach? What kind of crimes do you encounter? What kind of situations do you see?
Yeah, so, the cliche is there's no routine day in policing, and that is absolutely true. There could be a day that you'll be on the job and you might have one call for service. You might be working midnights in the winter here in Virginia Beach, and you may not see a car for 5 or 6 hours because it's cold, it's rainy, or whatever the case may be. The interesting thing about the layout of Virginia Beach is, you're right, we have a lot of things here in Virginia Beach. The ocean could be at your footsteps, or you can be in a urban metropolis in like Town Center. And it's interesting. You could be on the west side of the city and see very few people, and you're in the middle of July and you drive 7 miles east on Virginia Beach Boulevard, and there's 100,000 people down there, at the ocean front. So the policing is very unique here, and we're very fortunate because we have a lot of demographics. We have a large military installation. We have people from all over the United States come here because of the government facilities. We have our suburbs. We even have a county. You can drive 20 minutes south, and be near North Carolina, and you can see farmland and vegetation, agriculture. So we're very fortunate in that aspect of it. Now, with that as well, you have a diverse group of people who have various cultural differences, and that's why it's important. That's why we have so much training in our department, especially with communication, de-escalation, and things like that, so we can relate to as many people as we possibly can. But even in the relation aspect of it, you just treat people like you want to be treated and treat people how they expect to be treated, there will be no problems. And I think that is a large testament to our core values and our organization of being professional at all times.
Seems like there's a lot of organization, a lot of structure, a lot of value-driven kind of culture with the police department here. What are those different values?
Well, I will tell you, being a police officer and being a good human being, they're the same thing. What we learn, there's several things, from our core values. And one of the mandates in our organization is that every officer becomes a CIT officer, crisis intervention team member, and crisis intervention training. And, they go to the 40-hour course and learn how to do those things. Crisis intervention is not just for mental health reasons, but I will tell you that I use crisis intervention every day. And the key aspect of it is the person doesn't necessarily have to have a mental illness. They just, going through some type of crisis. And what I tell my officers a lot, it's very rare that you'll be invited to a barbecue, all right, during your shift, all right? 9 times out of 10, you're going to be going to someone's house or residence or meet with them, have some type of encounter, and they're going to be under some sort of stress. Whatever that stress is, it could be anywhere from they lost their dog to They had a very traumatic incident happen to them. And so you have to bring that training with it. You have to be able to empathize. That's the number one thing. Be empathetic. Try to put yourself in their shoes, in their predicament, so you can understand what is going on, and you can bring yourself emotionally to their level. Either it's high or low or whatever the case may be, having the emotional intelligence to deal with what that person is going through. All right. And 9 times out of 10 of the communication, treating people like a human being with dignity, is going to win you that encounter every time. And that's not just in policing, that's at home. That is dealing with people in the grocery store, when you're off. It's just being a good person at the end of the day. You don't necessarily have to be a police officer to do that. It's very important, don't get me wrong, but just treat people like you want to be treated. The golden rule and the platinum rule.
And I know, obviously, you're dealing with people on usually one of the worst days of their lives.
Yes. Yes.
So there's a lot of psychology that goes into that. There's a lot of psychology that goes into the job application process. I know for police officers, it's a little bit more strenuous than it is for most people, the kind of interviews that you have to go through, the kind of background checks that you do. How was the application process for Virginia Beach when you were looking at other departments, trying to get places? How did it kind of work with Virginia Beach, and what would you recommend to people considering Virginia Beach as a place to put an application?
Yeah, well, my recommendation, again, I think Virginia Beach is one of the best organizations or the best police departments in the country. It is my first thing for anyone, because it does, whether it's Virginia Beach Police Department or police department somewhere else, the application process is very lengthy. All right, and various jurisdictions may have longer application processes, and it also depends on when you fall in line to go to that police academy. So the first thing I tell people is, if you're thinking about being a police officer, apply that day. All right, because you're in most cases you're a year away from getting in the front door. So apply that day, and if you change your mind and you get another job somewhere, no harm, no foul, you're in. All right, because the longer you wait, the longer it takes you to get hired. Right?
Oh, because it goes through the city HR process.
Yeah. And so our process roughly takes about 8 months to a year. So you apply, you do your written examination, do your PT test, you'll go through your background, you'll go through your medical. You'll go through several checks, and then you'll get hired on our department. Now that takes about 8 months, and then it also depends on when the next academy is. So we have our next academy starting in April. So if you apply today, it's impossible for you to get in. But after that, it will be November. So if you apply today, there's a good chance that you will find yourself in the November academy. So that's why I say, if you think about it, if you have that desire to be a police officer, apply that day.
Just get in the system, get going.
Get in the system and get going.
I know PT is involved with it. So what kind of training should you be doing fitness-wise?
A lot of core training, working on your core muscles, and a lot of cardio. All right. So you're going to be doing a little bit of running in the academy. One of the applications that you will have to do on the physical agility test is a 300-meter run. All right. So not that bad, but if you're not prepared for it, it may hurt you a little bit. So there's nothing better than just going out, doing a run in your neighborhood, 2 miles, every couple of days, mile and a half, and then working on your core muscle groups, some push-ups, some sit-ups, some pull-ups, things like that. Core muscle groups. That is the beginning of getting yourself prepared to join any police academy. It doesn't matter if it's ours or another's. There's going to be some of the same type of training that you will have to go through to be successful and pass the police academy. So yeah, work on your core muscle groups and do a little bit of cardio.
Okay, and it shouldn't be too difficult to deal with.
Nope, go at your own pace. Push yourself. Push yourself, get outside of your limits a little bit, and so you can get stronger.
And what kind of things happen in the interview process? What sort of questions should people anticipate or prepare themselves for?
Pretty much what we want on our organization. We want a good, upstanding person. Okay, we want to know that you have some type of leadership ability, and the leadership ability is important because you may be 21 years old, all right, or much older. But the youngest you can be is 21 years old, and you may get called to someone's house for a domestic or something, and they've been married 25 years, and you, a 21-year-old, are going to have to come and solve their problems for them in 5 minutes. All right, and so you're going to have the command presence and the ability to diffuse that situation, explain to them what's going on, explain to them their rights as citizens or as customers of our city, and then leave there and hope to never return again. All right, so as 21 years old, you're going to have to deal with something like that. We also want to know if you're a person of good integrity and good morals. We're going to ask you questions that are along those lines. You have to be a person of integrity and good morals to be a police officer. You're going to find yourself in situations that a person that does not have those values may find themselves being compromised, and we can't have that. So it'll be all questions about you. There will be no questions about law or anything like that. It'll be all questions about you because we want to get to know who you are and if you're able to be a police officer in our police department.
I know it's also a very writing intensive career.
Yes, it is. They don't show you that in movies.
That's what I took a criminal justice class in my undergrad, and I just wrote with the professor going, "This is a writing intensive career."
It is.
And you'd have to have some writing skills and abilities, I'd imagine, to be able to describe things accurately.
Yes.
And very detailed.
Yes.
So that's definitely a skill to be working on, I'd imagine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the best way to do that is to read. Read your favorite book. Read the news. Read the newspaper to get your grammar in order, so you're able to pass the test and be able to write documents that you have to send to the Commonwealth's attorney, so those persons can be prosecuted. So it's very important that your grammar and your rhetoric is good enough to be able to articulate what you saw happen and why you're charging a person and potentially going to take away their freedom.
And I'd imagine an understanding of Virginia law would also be advantageous.
It would be, but again, we're going to teach you that. I will tell you that one of the first, within your first month, we bring a very good lawyer to the academy to spend, I think, about a week with you to teach you constitutional law. Phenomenal course. Again, we're going to teach you everything. You don't need the experience. We just need a good, upstanding person with moral turpitude and values to come and be a police officer for us. We're going to get you all the training that you need. So yeah, they're going to spend about a week or so with a very good lawyer that's going to teach them constitutional law and Virginia law.
Nice. So that kind of takes away the uneasiness that you might be
Correct.
if you're an outside of Virginia resident, that sort of thing. So
Correct.
Nice. And yeah, I mean, from what I know about the city and the department, it seems like a really great work environment and place to work, and especially being in the city, because I mean, you're out driving all the time.
Sure.
I mean, there's a lot of good places to eat here, so it's just a lot of incentives to want to be a police officer here.
Well, as we're going to steal this from our mayor, but we have the greatest city in the world. So you have everything here in Virginia. You're essentially in Virginia Beach. You're essentially in the middle of everything. So as far as the nostalgia of the area, it's a lot of history here. All right. So you also, you could be minutes away from the ocean. You're about an hour and a half away from the mountains. You're, depending on traffic, you're 2 to 6 hours away from Washington, D.C. So,
That's true.
there's anything that you wanted about America or about the United States is right here. I mean, you're very close to it. A lot of great universities. I'm alumni from here, the Regent University. There's parks in every neighborhood. Anything you want is right here in Virginia Beach. So it is the greatest city in the world, and it's also the safest city in the world.
That's what I've heard. That
It is.
They pride themselves on that. That's
It's it's the safest city of its size, right? So our city has about 500,000 residents census. Now, non-census with the military, we have the largest military installation, largest naval installation in the world right here. Our population is probably close to 1 million. All right. And I will tell you that our violent crimes, are very low, for having almost 1 million people here. Now, the metropolitan index of Virginia Beach, that's with all the 7 cities, is right around 1.1, 1.2 million. And again, so remember that in the summer, what we call the end season, after Memorial Day, between Memorial Day and Labor Day, our city swells to at least 1.2 million people on a daily basis. And to have the crime index so low, of course we pride ourselves. Of course our command staff pride themselves on that, because that's a tribute to great community policing from our organization. That's a tribute to the goals of our organization and having police officers out there and doing a fantastic job interacting with the citizens and making sure that we're doing our job every day. So that's why it's one of the safest cities of its size. And of course, being a safe city, people want to be safe. It's the greatest city in the world.
But if you're still looking for, some exciting, resume experience as a police officer, you definitely do get that. And
Absolutely.
because there are, 7,000 felons on the street any day that you need to round up and go get with the warrant squad.
Sounds about right.
So yeah,
Sounds
so
about right.
you certainly have your collection of people moving through.
Yeah.
So there's that opportunity as well. How long, if you don't mind me asking, have you been at the department?
A little over 10 years.
Okay, so you've seen a whole decade's worth of policing here.
Right.
If I'm newer or I'm coming out of Regent, as an undergrad, thinking about this, is this a good short-term and long-term place to be?
Both. I mean, of course, if you're a great police officer, of course we want you to be a part of the Virginia Beach family for a very long time. We would like for you to come here and retire here. We invest in you. We would like for you to do that. But I will say this, is that our department is very understanding, So whereas some jurisdictions, you will come in and you will have to sign a document saying, hey, I shall stay here X amount of years, or I will have to pay you back for my training. Our department doesn't do that, And because the main part of it is, I think that our department wants you to be here and be happy. We're not going to force you to do anything like that. So short-term and long-term, it's a fantastic opportunity. It's a fantastic police department. You get the best training that I've seen in my many years, in my 10 years of experience and going around to different jurisdictions. So yeah, both.
Wow. So the last thing I'll ask then is, how do I apply? Where would I go?
Yeah. So you go to vbgov.com/police jobs, and you'll see a great photo of our chief of police, and he'll have a message for you, welcoming you into the application process. Any questions that you may have, we answer on how to apply. The first step is to click how to apply and, submit your application to the Law Enforcement Training Academy, and then you're on your way.
Cool. So they'll just pick it up from there then.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to call the number on the website at the Law Enforcement and Training Academy. We have people there that will love to answer your questions.
Nice. And the department's broken up into, is it 4 precincts or are there more?
4 precincts, and then we have special operations.
Okay.
So that can be considered a 5th precinct.
And so then if people are just more interested in finding out more about the department, that sort of thing, they can visit one of the precincts or request a ride along.
I recommend a ride along. I mean, a ride along is fantastic because you'll start your day with the officer. You'll ride 10 hours and you will get to actually see and be in the passenger seat and understand what that police officer does every single day. From logging onto his vehicle to checking out his equipment to going to calls for service, you'll be right there seeing how that person, he or she, interacts with the community. How they respond to certain calls for service, and then you'll end your day with the police officer, and you can do that about twice a year.
Nice. Oh wow. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or if you're in school, get into an internship, you'll get to do it a little bit longer.
How do internships work?
They have our department has internship partners with different universities, and you'll find it, and then you'll sign up for it. That could be anywhere from working at headquarters to being an intern out on the street. In a precinct or whatever programs that the department has going on, they'll probably have an intern for it. It's typically, you can find those around the spring.
Okay, and they're not paid?
No.
So what you can do then is through Career Services, register your internship through CareerLink. Just go to the survey section once you've logged in and do a step 1, and we'll help get you registered, go through that whole process. And if you want, you can get it to count for class credit, I'd imagine. As long as you have learning objectives and everything like that. So you just fill that out and you can get 1 to 6 credits. For every 32 hours that you are doing an internship, you can earn a credit for class credits. So that's always an option. You can find out more about that. And if you have any questions, internship@regent.edu. So thank you so much for taking time today.
It was my pleasure.
To talk about the department. I know it's an exciting opportunity, especially for people considering, going into law enforcement after Regent, especially if you're here or even if you're online and want to come down to the beach and see what it's like. Definitely that ride along opportunity. I did a ride along before I moved here, and it was a great way to be introduced to Virginia Beach before moving here. Actually, I was like, I really like this place. I did the midnight shift. It was fun.
Oh, yeah.
I've never gone that fast before through intersections.
But it was safe.
It was very safe. I felt safe the whole time.
That's right.
Yeah, because they're trained very well, and they're concerned about safety. Oh yeah, it's cool to see how they prioritize calls, how they come in on the computer, just the role technology plays, just everything. I mean, I was just very impressed.
Absolutely.
So it's a cool environment to be in. It looks like you all have a good time too. So
we do have a good time. Listen, if you're this is one of those professions where you have to really enjoy it, right? You have to want to come to work every day. to be in this profession. Because again, like you said, you're dealing with people at their lowest point in their life, and you have to put whatever personal things that you have going on, you have to put that aside because, a lot of people don't realize this, but we too are in the business of customer service. It's a customer service industry that we're in. We're providing a service to citizens, or what we call customers here in Virginia. And just as if nobody wants to be waited on in a restaurant with poor service, you don't want your police officer to come to your door with poor service, because you're already having a bad day and you don't want that police officer to compound that bad day. So you have to go out there, you have to be happy, you have to understand that we're trying to get the best service we can and be a great representative for our city.
Nice. Yeah, I'd imagine you get very close with your coworkers, and it's that kind of culture.
Absolutely.
So, always a good kind of culture to have, similar to how Regent works. So once again, any questions, visit us at Career Services. Log into CareerLink. You'll find information there. And, of course, there's Virginia Beach's website, so vbgov.com, and it's /police jobs.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time to meet with us today.
I appreciate it.
And I will go ahead and end our Zoom meeting here, but the recording will be up on our YouTube page, so you can always check back there for more information. So